Donald Trump did another one of his crazy rallies. And of course, that made a lot of news in Ohio. He was doing a rally for one of the candidates that was running in Ohio.
And whoever knows who that is.
Nobody knows. And he'll surely lose because most of the candidates that he endorses loses. And that's just a fact. I mean, that's just... that's not even a surprise or a debatable anymore. A lot of the candidates that he endorses loses. A lot of the candidates that Moms for Liberty, those nutballs, they try to get on all the school boards. Most of them lose, which again makes me feel better about this country, that overall that people see what's going on and they're like, okay, this is just way too crazy for me. So, so eyes are open, and they have been since Donald Trump has been elected. I have talked about before, and Lana and I have talked together about this, that, you know, when Donald Trump came on the scene, there was a lot of people that got involved in politics that never were involved in politics before. Some for the good, some for the bad, you know, and the ones for the good were the ones who are now so-called woke, and they are understanding what's happening. But you also have ones that don't understand the policies. And I'm not saying the ones that are woke understand all the policies. I'm not saying that they do, but they understand what's happening in this country, where the other ones are trying to avoid these things happening in the country in spite of it hurting them personally. So, but anyway, we'll get to the certainly the main crux of this rally. But here's how Donald Trump opened it, with his famous national anthem sung by the January 6th choir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January.
I gotta say, when I first heard that guy with the ladies and gentlemen, with the horribly, and I thought it was like a Stephen Colbert thing where they were doing a joke, and it turns out that was not a joke.
Like that was for real.
All right, let's finish up and hear what he has to say.
January 6th hostages.
Idiot is saluting. It's not a military issue. So it sucks because there was a part of the clip that in the middle of that so-called anthem, it didn't go through the whole anthem. It goes, "Oh, say, can you see?" And it gets to a certain point, and in the middle of it, they play a clip of Donald Trump saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So not only do they disgrace the song by adding the voice of a guy who caused an insurrection in this country to our national anthem, I think back of Colin Kaepernick and how people lost their mind about him taking a knee on the suggestion of somebody from the military, said that if you're going to protest, that we would appreciate rather you sitting on the bench, that you take a knee during the national anthem, because that is more respectful. Them losing their minds and wanting to get their guns and shoot people and call up DirecTV and cancel their NFL package at the time. This is perfectly acceptable.
Go figure. Go figure.
It's awesome.
It's, what the fuck is wrong with you, America? It's like, what is wrong? I don't know how these people watch this shit and like think that is like normal. Like, yeah, felons. They are felons. That you guys are like, the former president is like praising felons and like saluting them or whatever the fuck it was doing. Like, they're in there because most of them admitted to it, right? They pled guilty.
Correct.
And said that they did it.
Yep. And were remorseful.
Right. But here we are calling them hostages, which of course is extremely disrespectful to the real fucking hostages.
Correct. That's exactly right. We do have hostages. Right. And you know, it's even scarier than you think, because it's him just calling them hostages isn't one of those things where he's going to do his Donald Trump thing. He is saying that if he becomes president, that he will release them from prison. So basically what he is telling the world is that if you side with me, that you can do whatever you want. I will let you free. And then anybody that sides against me may be, where you were, and we're going to replace them. People want to talk about the great replacement theory. That's the replacement theory that I'm afraid of, that we're going to replace those fucking assholes who were traitors to our country and replace them with law-abiding citizens because they disagreed with that fucking idiot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, because that is the scary part. Like, it's like if he does pardon them, which he could have pardoned them before he left office too, right?
He could have 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he pardoned people like Steve Bannon and
he picked and chose.
Roger Stone. Yeah.
Right. Very strange. But when those guys come out, now you're saying, hey, Nazis and white supremacists and the rest of you guys, do what you want. Like, you can do what you want in a Trump America. And I think that's why he has the support of the bottom feeders, because that's exactly what they want. Like, they want to walk around with their guns everywhere, anywhere, and do what the fuck they want. Torment people, lynching. Hey, let's do that. Like, they don't care. Kill, a gay couple. Like, they don't. That's what they want.
If there is what is perceived as a Black Lives Matter protest, a Kyle Rittenhouse will be born again. The 100 Kyle Rittenhouses will be.
They will go on purpose with their guns to do that, because
permission.
Right, because they know that Donald Trump has said, no, it's fine under my watch. I don't care.
Yep. Yeah. You get permission from not just your mommy who will drive you there, but from the president of the United States. And that's fucking scary. And that's what I really don't think a lot of people don't grasp this. They don't understand. They also don't understand. I think one of the other things too is, you can hear some people, you and I have talked about this, some of the progressives, or some of, even disappointingly Jon Stewart on his first show, where you basically say, we can get through 4 years of this. If anybody doesn't conjure in their brain for a second that 4 years goes by, and let's say Donald Trump decides I'm going to be done being president, which there's a possibility he will find a way where he's not done being president. Right. But let's say he does. Let's say it's a Gavin Newsom versus a Tucker Carlson, and Gavin Newsom beats him, but Donald Trump is still in office. Are you going to tell me they're not going to try to find a way to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. He's gonna,
because they know the formula now, Lana. They know what to do. They didn't do it right the first time. They know how to do it the second time, and appoint the people in there that will be the do boys for that orange idiot, and will do whatever Steve Bannon tells him to do.
Well, okay. And if that's not scary enough, how about a Vivek
Ramaswamy
was it the national security guy,
Secretary of State, or
something? How about that?
How about in any position?
Right. It's right. It's like that's like, this is not a joke. America is just not just here and nothing is going on. And I think like people travel in their every day, go to work, come home, feed the kids, and they really don't think about there's a system in place with America. Not talk about the systemic racism part. That's another story. But there is a system in place that protects us. Like, there are how things are moving, like why we have allies, like, we have a place that's making money. Like, just all of these things, and no one pays attention to those things. Like, why we have a Secretary of State, why we have like the National Defense, whatever he's called, secretary. Yep. Like, there's a reason why we have these people. There's a reason why America has like embassies in all these different countries. There are things that are happening that you're not knowing that it's happening. And if we get a Trump presidency,
Yep.
it gets knocked off of balance. Like it's just you can't just put like he's gonna have fucking Rosie O'Donnell somewhere, like you being the next HUD secretary.
Well, not Rosie O'Donnell because he hates her, but it would be Roseanne Barr.
Oh,
is
yeah,
who I
that's
think you
the
meant.
one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. You know.
Well, yeah,
well,
Roseanne Barr.
Well, you said it is. You know, all the things that are in place for a reason, and none of them are perfect. But I think what the Trump sycophants and the people in the Trump world, what they'll do is they'll take those small imperfections and blow them up and make it look. And so they'll use that as the reason as to why we need to change this. We need to get rid of NATO. We need to get rid of, and they will take those little tiny morsels of what may be, something that is not perfect, but overall the scale says NATO is way better to be, to have than not. It's not even close, right?
Like that's like simple common sense. Why do you want to be on an island alone?
If you are in a neighborhood and there's a guy terrorizing all kinds of neighborhoods, would you want in your neighborhood a bunch of people together, even though sometimes you might not like the across the street neighbor, but he knows that if this guy comes in to attack your neighborhood, that everybody is going to jump on this guy and fuck him up.
Exactly, because it's about we're not going offense, right? NATO is not going around attacking. NATO is like, hey, we're all of us are putting a certain amount of money into our defense, right? So if anyone attacks us, we're going to be ready. So that's what all of us vow to strengthen our military and make sure that we're ready. That is our number one goal. So that if somebody attacks one of us, they attack all of us and we're ready to go. So that is what. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Go ahead. That's what you're right. And you say the unfortunate thing is I keep talking about these little morsels of things. They'll say something like, well, the military's woke now and they want DEI, so now our military is weak. And you get idiots to believe that our military is weak.
Like, what the fuck does that mean? There have been celebrities that have served in the military and came back and became movie stars. Fucking Ronald, who was the freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Like these people.
Yeah. It makes no sense. But let's play this next clip. But before we do, I want to acknowledge our friend DA who had a comment. If you are having a bad day, just take a deep breath and say, at least I'm not accruing $2.6 million a month in interest on a debt like Trump is. And that is something that, again, makes me smile.
Right.
Makes me smile.
Hey,
here's another
down by minutes too, didn't they? Or seconds. It was something crazy, a second too, that he was accruing like.
Right. And I loved how Letitia James was updating every day how much on her Twitter, how much now he owed because the day it was awesome. But here's something else that's hilarious, and then we're going to get to the bloodbath comment. But before we do that, once again, Dementia Don was on display when, for some bizarre reason, he thinks that Joe Biden beat Barack Obama in, I don't know in what, but when you listen to this clip, Lana, because I don't hear a lot of people talking about this on this clip, I want you to listen to it very carefully. He says Obama twice. I want you to listen to the second time he says it. It's at the very end of the clip. And I want you to hear what I heard. See if you hear what I heard, okay?
Biden, in the largest margins ever. You know what was interesting? Joe Biden won against Barack Hussein Obama. Has anyone ever heard of him? Barack Hussein Obama. Or is
Obama.
He said Obama, didn't he?
Obama.
Yeah. Barack Hussein Obama. Imagine how...
He said Biden beat Obama.
He beat Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. And imagine how simple you have to be. Like I would have to evaluate my life if somebody said a trigger name that would make me so happy, like calling him Hussein Obama. It's just such a weak, stupid thing, but it's just such a little trigger thing for those morons who there go, yeah, that Muslim, you know, it's like, oh God damn it, you fucking people.
Yeah, but then he didn't even stick the joke because he said his name wrong in the end. So here you are trying to assault him, but not even saying his right name, you idiot. Like
On the
no one
black
says anything.
on Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest, he did not stick the joke. But in that comedy club, every time he sticks it. I mean, they're on their 12 drink minimum that they had in the fucking parking lot during the tailgate before. Yeah.
Oh, Baba.
Oh, Baba. Oh, I can't stand this idiot. Okay, so this was the comment that got all the news the other day. He referenced a bloodbath if he doesn't win. So I'm going to play two clips. I'm going to play the first clip that everybody's playing that said he referenced a bloodbath if he doesn't win. And then I'm going to play the full clip and see if we can tell, you know, a difference, just to be fair.
You're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine.
Okay, so that was the first clip, and everybody was very upset because they were like, well, you know, if you play the full context of the clip, then you would really understand what he said. So Lana and I are going to play the full context of the clip and see if there's a difference on what you think that Donald Trump meant by there'd be a bloodbath if he does not win.
Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our
I just, something jumps out at me, by the way. The dude in the background with the red tie and the sunglasses, there's just something I know that if I spoke to him, I just know I would not be able to stand that kid.
No, you won't. He's there. He probably didn't even change his underwear for here. He just
right.
a white shirt and a red tie, and he thinks he's like professional.
Sat in the parking lot all night. Okay, let's finish up. Come on, Donnie.
Country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Except for the country.
But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine.
Okay, so... Wait, I don't want to play him anymore. We're done with you, Donnie. Okay, so we played the full clip, and Lana, what are your thoughts?
Outside of he's an idiot? Like,
yeah, shit.
The bloodbath comment? Like, here's the thing. He doesn't even talk in full sentences. No. Half the time, he will say something, start with something, the car, and then all of a sudden he'll start talking about Jewish people, and then all of a sudden he'll go back to the cars. Right. Like, so that's how he talks, and they're trying to take advantage and say, no, it was related. It wasn't related. It was two separate thoughts that he said. He said the bloodbath for the country was what he said. He didn't say the auto industry, a bloodbath for the auto, he said country.
Well, he also, you know, like you said, he was like, that'll be the least of it. And again, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and mince words and play games with this fucking guy anymore. I mean, he has said, he's told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. He's called his opponents vermin. He's used language like this in the past, and he knows that when he says something like that, it's the dog whistle for these morons who are, he's just jazzing them up and getting them angry and keeping them angry just in case he loses. And I'm glad that he acknowledges the fact that he could possibly lose, which tells me, and I may be wrong on this, I don't know this is a fact, but it tells me that there's a possibility that he thinks, or he's been told, you're not a sure thing to win this thing. So let's just be honest. And in fact, a new poll came out today. There's back-to-back polls now that just come out that Joe Biden is now taking the lead in a couple polls over Donald Trump. We talked about this last week, suspected that this could happen after the State of the Union address. And, the fact that Joe Biden is raising, so after that State of the Union, literally within 24 hours, raised $10 million, which is insane. I mean, that's just crazy within 24 hours. So
going to be asking him for money to pay his. It's like, can the Democratic Party pay my bond?
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Hey, I'll pay you back. I promise.
Come on, Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, come on, Sleepy Joe.
Let me get that.
Be the greatest if there was a record, and there's a possibility of a recorded phone call of that coming out. So, yeah, and somehow the Trump sycophants would deny it and spin it somehow, and that's got to be we talk about being exhausted. That's got to be an exhausting job, is spinning the words of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right. Agreed.
But you know what? Sometimes though it becomes like muscle memory. It's now it's just so ingrained that I don't know if it's exhausting for them anymore. They just know what to do and how to say it and what to say, because it's not like they're lifting a lot of weights with the people that they're speaking to.
Which is ridiculous, right? Because, I don't even like to deal with people in my personal life if I have to try to explain and figure out what they're talking about.
Right.
I don't want to talk to you anymore because it means you're talking in code and you don't want me to know. Like, it's like, I don't want to do that. Every time you turn around, they're trying to explain what the hell he's saying. Like, that's a problem.
Right. That is a problem. But I don't know. Like I said, we've heard this kind of language with him before. Let's just say Lana and I agree that we're going to give him a pass on this one, which we're not. But let's just say we are.
Correct.
This doesn't take away from all the things that he said in the past. This does not take away from who he is and what we believe and know that he is at this point. So this guy's a danger to this country, and he's a danger to democracy. He's a danger to the Constitution. He's a danger to the world. And if you feel like that he's the best way to go for you, I think at some point you're going to be highly disappointed that you made that choice.
Agreed. They don't understand. They've never seen a country without freaking laws. Like, when the government is corrupt. Look at Haiti. Y'all don't get it? You think that can't be us with a corrupt government? I could see Donald Trump trying to get rid of the whole Democratic Party from government and just have the Republicans running the whole government, them taking money from China and Russia, all kinds of bad deals. Yeah, just lawlessness, and him not leaving.
Did you see the elections in Russia recently where literally, I mean, they had people going into the voting booths in some of them and staring over the people's, basically like, who are you voting for?
Right. And
there were some Russian protesters that said, I'm not voting for this guy. Fuck you. And of course they got arrested. They did get arrested for doing things to the voting machines. They were trying to, I can't remember exactly what they were using to try to destroy the voting machines and doing all this, but they were doing it in protest. Obviously that's not, you can't do that at all. And that's the America Donald Trump wants. There is a clip going around This was from a while back. I don't know. Twitter every once in a while revamps these clips that were from a year ago, and all of a sudden it's prevalent again. But it was Donald Trump talking to Steve Doocy, praising Kim Jong-un about how smart he is and how he's got his people in line. And he literally says, that's how I want my people to be. My people is what he says. And he's got 30% of the country as his people doing his bidding. He says it.
Like, that's all I can say. But I don't even think, sorry, my son is like walking back and forth.
That's okay.
For a minute, we were like, just watch the local news. You could get a little something from them. I don't even know if you can. I was watching the local news after Putin's election, and they were talking about the Putin's election. They're like, Putin won in a landslide, 87%. And that was just the reporting. That was the reporting of it. So if you don't have history of who Putin is, and that's so dangerous right now, because we know that there is somebody running for president right now who loves Putin, who wants to be a dictator like Putin. So for you to formalize your news just to act like it was an ordinary election, I mean, I'm not saying you should sway, but fucking tell the truth. Like, that's true.
That's and that's the problem I have with media nowadays. In fact, I saw a tweet today from Caitlin Collins, and I like Caitlin Collins, and I mean, I don't really watch it as much, but
Caitlin Collins,
she's on CNN, one of the reporters on CNN, and she had expressed news about the Trump money that he owes, and that she reported on there that Donald Trump is mad that he's got to put this up, and states that this never happened to him, or it's never happened to anybody before. But the problem with that tweet is that she did not complete the reporting by saying, of course, this is standard practice where you do have to put it down in order to make an appeal. Right. But when you just read that, you think, oh, Donald Trump's getting fucked here because the judge is against him.
Correct.
Basically just what you said.
Yeah. Like, stop doing that. That's like, you're doing a disservice to people. And maybe we need to stop focusing on the media and start focusing on the people to say, do more research. Like, just do more research. If you're watching local news and you hear them talking about something, you're gonna have to start Googling, because all you do is ask Google the question, and it's so neat right now. It will give you an answer in one short paragraph up to the top. The truth is going to be right there, and then it gives you all the different articles you can go into. But like, they kind of give you the answer right there.
Yeah, and it's kind of, in a way though, Lana, it's kind of a shame that we have to do that. And not to say that, and I'm glad that we have that at our fingertips, and I'm glad that we're able to do that. But there's a small percentage of people that are going to go out of their way to get what the actual news is. I swear on my life, if I see something on a Twitter, if I see something on social media that I'm like, oh shit, that is, something I might want to talk about with Lana on the show or something like that, I'm going to research it and investigate it first before I do that.
Absolutely.
A lot of people will just read the meme, or they'll read the headline and go, holy shit, did you see what happened? Donald Trump's being unfairly treated by the judge, and he's got to put it down, when it's never happened in the history of the country, where of course it's standard practice. And it certainly has.
Same with the ban on TikTok, right? Everyone thinks it's like